Causenetic family?
Hey, welcome to the CAUSENETIC podcast.
Causenetic means being a person or thing that gives rise to a phenomenon that is dynamic or energizing.
Hey, we're tackling topics and telling the truth.
I'm Roderick Ross.
And I'm Keith Benson.
So today we are talking about introducing
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. This whole idea of how do you redefine yourself at work, right? Whether it's because you've gotten a promotion, like this happened to me. I got promotions in the same place with the same people, but now our dynamic was different because who used to be a peer, now I supervise. So there was a little bit of redefinition there. Or if you get a chance to go to a new place and you want to kind of bring this 2.0 version of yourself, this whole idea of how do you redefine yourself at work?
And because of where we are in the workplace now, there's a lot of industries that are thinner right now.
Yes,
and
that's
so people have more than one particular job or areas of responsibility because people are streamlined now.
Yes,
a lot of
indeed.
organizations are centralizing their operations,
Trying to be more efficient.
Yeah.
Because of the great resignation, you just have less workforce to work with. And some people are taking the opportunity to completely change direction and change careers. And that's going to require you to redefine yourself. Like, I've absolutely heard of people who were, say, maybe an accountant or worked in the accounting or something that was heavily focused on data and computer, and you look at a screen all day, to now they're leaning in and they're working in more people-centered and people-focused areas. And so you definitely have to redefine yourself. Like, numbers and people are two different things.
They don't necessarily match each other.
They don't necessarily match, right? So this whole idea of redefining yourself, identifying patterns and values or activities that no longer serve you and changing them for better options. So I'm excited. I think everyone should redefine.
I think the opportunity is there now in the workplace to be able to set yourself apart in such a way, in a different way, because we all were off for some period of time. And during that time that we were off, like, what did you do to try to increase a skill set to be able to promote yourself even more so? And so, like, what is that one particular skill set that you have that really helps define you to maybe put you in a specific role that it makes you different from everyone else? People didn't see that before.
How did you intentionally evolve some of your characteristics, whether they were external or internal? Externally, things like some hobbies or some things that you get proximate to, or even how you look, right? Like, did you change your hair? Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? Did you stop wearing all one color, start wearing, like, I started back wearing yellow. Like, yellow was my pandemic thing. That's another podcast on why I stopped wearing yellow, so I won't go into it there. But it had to do with this guy in the 6th grade named Davey.
Davey, I'm sorry, buddy. But hey.
I'm better now, so I'm over it. Or when you're talking about...
We just went through a moment just then.
Davey, I didn't wear yellow for years.
All right, but...
It's fine. Or when you're changing, like, characteristics internally, like some of the things you do you have limiting beliefs? Do you bend towards being pessimistic? That kind of stuff. But just this whole idea of reinventing yourself.
I think when you're talking about redefining yourself as well, it is, what is the skill set that you need to master even more so that people can see you in this different way? Like, how do you spend time in a particular area? And that may look like, you know what, I'm going to go and get some certifications. There's different type of things out there. Google offers a whole set of certifications that people respect.
Yes.
Your community colleges offer training.
Harvard, during the pandemic, had a whole slew of courses and certificates that you could get that they were offering for free.
I
know. How fancy is that to be able, like, yes, I have this certification from Harvard.
And as I look on LinkedIn, there's a lot of people.
With those Harvard certifications.
Hey, I mean, it's something to say that, that's the only way that, most of us probably get to bed to get something from Harvard.
Well, that would be the only way I could get it.
Yeah.
From Harvard.
But when you're trying to reinvent yourself, you got to be able to master this certain skill set. Again, like I said, it sets you apart, and like it helps you also to change focus. People are going to see you in some different way, but figure out a way to be able to invest in yourself personally.
Yeah, and the way to do that is you really have to get a good understanding and awareness of yourself. yourself. Like, you can tell other people stuff that you think they want to hear, or you can extol your virtues to other people in a way that you think that they will find appealing, but you got to tell yourself the truth, right? And you got to try to become as aware as possible to the skills that you bring, your areas of opportunity, the places where you need to grow. Like, you can't get to the better version of yourself if you don't have a accurate accounting of who you are and what your skill sets are now. So,
yeah, I know for me, one of the things when we went into the pandemic was that when I saw that this Zoom and Teams and all those things, this online virtual learning was real, like I said to myself, I remember clearly saying to myself, I said, self.
That's what you said to yourself?
I said, self. You're going to learn this Zoom thing.
You know, you did. I have seen that. Like, you've even taught me a trick or two on the online platform.
And, then I went from, I'm going to have to give Dr. G props. Dr. G, who we work with, I got to give her props. She taught me a whole lot. Yeah. But then it went from this whole place of I'm leading virtual conferences,
You're
national
the producer
conferences.
now.
Yeah, like, okay, sure, I can do it.
Add that to your list of skills and accolades. Yes, I'm a producer.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that when you're talking about redefining yourself, please don't hear us saying that you have to be a whole different person, right? Like that we don't want to center and honor each person's authenticity.
Right.
And so I think in order to do that and still be successful in the redefining process, you got to define your core values. Like, what are some of the things that are not going to change? These are the non-negotiables. I'm going to always be this. I'm going to always hold this in high regard. I'm always going to champion this. This is how I want the world to experience me. And once you have that fairly tight list, then the rest of the stuff you can start massaging and maneuvering. But always keep at the core, right? That bullseye, that dot in the middle. You got to keep your core values in there because that creep is real. Like, you'll look up and you will find yourself living outside of yourself.
Right.
And that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, skill sets and values are not the same.
They are not the same.
You keep your values all the time.
It's a slippery
skill sets,
slope.
you learn, you want to go into it, but your value system never changes.
And that'll allow you to say, that's not a skill I want, I want to master, or that's not a thing that I want to do, or that's not something that I want to condone. So define and really know what your core value is. Some of the conversations that I have with other coworkers, you would be surprised if you ask people, what are your core values? I mean, they know generally, right? But very few people can succinctly say this, and this, right? We do it for organizations all the time.
Right.
Like, you can tell an organization's core values because people have spent lots of time and effort and many times money to get succinct about that. You should do the same thing, maybe minus the money part, but that time and effort to really define your personal core values, because they will serve you well in the redefining process, and when you're out potentially looking to work for an organization or a company, because if there's a rub, it's better to know that early on.
Yeah, also one of the things I've learned over this during this time of this pandemic that we're still in, I would say, is that you had a lot of people who became entrepreneurs because they wanted to, that while they had to break, they wanted to take a step back, and do what they've always wanted to do. I was talking to a consultant earlier today, and they were talking about how they would never go back to a 9 to 5.
I've heard that.
And then they were even talking from this bold place of, I will not partner with the type of firm because here are the values that I have.
That's
and as
right.
I look at that particular firm right there, like, no, they don't share the same thing.
Yeah.
So while they had this boldness of just stepping out there, they're like truly defining themselves in such a way that, no, I'm going to turn away this money over here.
Yes, indeed.
Because, to them, all money's not good money.
All money's not good money. I have seen and heard so many entrepreneurs and even organizations, right? Like, you would not hear organizations saying that before if someone was ready to give them financial resources. But now, because people are really getting in tune with their core values, they are readily saying, no, all money is not good money. And sometimes you just got to say, that it's not a good fit. We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, because you can take this time, take a moment, like, I want to redefine myself. Like, all right, what are the new career paths out there? And figure those things out. So, of course, once you go to the internet and start searching, just typing in anything and finding what are those career paths now that you may be able to go after. Some who are listening right now, you're probably in a place that, you know what, you could step away and you can go somewhere. Some you may not, but while you, whatever position that you're in, like, you gotta be able to redefine yourself. You really truly be authentic to yourself. Like, am I in the right position right now?
Right.
And if not, all right, let's look at some other options there.
Right.
Because there's so many different things that are out there now.
And give yourself the opportunity to multitask, right? And get to where it is that you want to go, right? Like, ask yourself what it is that you want to change,
right,
in service to what, and then set realistic goals. And in that, it may bubble up and become obvious to you that, you know what, I gotta stay in this role, I gotta do this job for another 2 years while I finish this certification, or I volunteer at this place to get this skill set, or I get a better relationship with this person, or I find this person or this group of people to be on my personal board of directors or whatever. To set those realistic goals after you've defined what you want to change, and then you can make that leap and do something different once that next iteration of yourself has really kind of been born and evolved. But ask yourself what you want to change, and then set realistic goals. And sometimes you just got to do what you're doing right now till you can get to that end goal.
And take a bold step also to be able to ask other people, like, how do they view you? How are you viewed?
Ooh, that's tough, though.
Yeah, and here's what I'm saying. That I'm not asking you to go to your best friend.
Because they going to tell. Well, it depends. Because some of my friends, they'll tell me.
Well, that's a true friend.
That's
a true friend. That's a true friend.
They'll tell me.
But you got to be able to go to somebody. Maybe it is your supervisor. Maybe it's somebody who is, someone else in the organization is probably not a peer, but somebody who's truly going to be authentic and say truth to you.
You're a truth teller. Everybody needs a truth teller, because you do yourself a disservice when you live in these fallacies, right? Like, I know it's tough to hear, and I know sometimes the feedback that you get, you really have to start questioning, okay, is that something that I want to change, right? Is that a core value, and it is what it is? And I think sometimes we use that as a safety net when it doesn't have to be. That's another podcast.
Yeah, because don't be passive about it.
Right.
If you really want to grow, you're gonna go to the uncomfortable place. You're going to ask some different questions than what you may ask your buddy. Because sometimes your buddy's it may tell you the truth, but it still may not be in the right way.
It's not the truth. It's just one truth, not two truths.
Because you ain't really trying to hurt your best friend. You ain't trying to hurt the relationship.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's why it's called growing pains. Right? Like, there is some pain in getting to that next evolution, that next growth. But don't underestimate your ability and your capability of getting through the pain. Like, diamonds start out as little lumps of coal. Do you see how deep I was just there?
You went deep there.
Right? Like, a pearl is literally an oyster trying to get rid of some sand that was aggravating them. It was irritating them.
Come on now.
Poof, this precious gem has emerged at the end of the process.
That you pay a little grip for, too.
Well, I wish somebody paid for a grip and send me some pearls, some diamonds and pearls.
Okay.
That was off track?
Yeah, that was off track. But also, find a tribe of people that now become your inspiration. Like, and again, that doesn't look like always the best friend, but you definitely want to hang around a group of people who provide that inspiration.
Yes, if somebody told me if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Get out that room.
Well, I find myself in a lot of right rooms there, because I don't think that I'm...
I would agree. You're not the smartest person in the room.
Nah.
That was too easy. It was just too easy.
But you gotta be able to. And when we say talking about find a tribe of people that pull you into that place of being inspired and feeling inspired all the time. I mean, it really uplifts your spirit, and it's not that place of making you happy, but it's that internal joy that comes out, of you, and you really become this different person.
Yeah, there is definitely. When I think about it, there are definitely groups of people that you get around, and it's utilitarian, right? It's functional. Like you get around, you got a project or you got something you got to do, you bang it out and it gets done. But then there are groups of people that you get around and boy, the juices start flowing and the thoughts start happening and you get creative and innovative and you get energized and you be like, yeah, we could do this. And that's where,
in that group, that individual can help you change course.
Yes,
and
absolutely
you need to find yourself going back to that same place. Don't go get one dose of that inspiration right there. Go back and get you 3, 4, 10 doses of that inspiration right there, so that it can help you change your. If they even change your lifestyle, that may even be the way you change your dress. Because I'm a little old school when it comes to the dress.
Oh, you a little?
I think you do. Sometimes the way you dress brings about the inspiration.
Well, that's true. And I will tell you, depending on what I have on, will absolutely dictate how I act. It will, That is absolutely true. Wow. But the thing is, you should also seek to find someone to emulate. Like, who out there represents what you think, right after you talked about aligning your core values and redefining and being honest and being self-aware? Who out there represents what you think is the next version of yourself, right? And look at some of the things they do, or talk to them, or find out what did they do, or how did they get to that place, and see if there are some things that you can repurpose, recycle. Like, that's energy efficient.
And because it doesn't make a difference, it's never too late to be what you might have been either. Right?
You better come on. That was deep.
Come on now.
You was philosophizing.
And so, regardless of what your age may be, regardless of what your past is,
whatever role you're in,
it doesn't make it. I don't care if you are the program director or the CEO. You still have opportunity to be able to redefine yourself.
Wow. Come on, tell me that again. What is it?
It's never too late to be what you might have been. Write that one down now.
You said a thing right there. Get your pen and paper. You said a thing right there. The other thing, too, about redefining yourself is that whenever you intentionally get into these spaces where you're redefining yourself, you will find that you are exploring new parts of yourself that you may have been ignoring, or not even realizing you're as good as you are, possibly, right? So I will tell you, when we started this podcast in the pandemic, it literally started because we really never really saw eye to eye on anything. And so people say, you guys should record that. And we should. But in doing so, we have really gotten the opportunity to explore different parts of our talent and our skills, and build different parts, and go and try to increase our abilities in certain areas. And just being in this podcast and redefining ourselves in this space really has allowed us to explore, at least explore different parts of myself.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about this being in my wheelhouse.
Ever. I never would have thought I would have been doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And now I look forward, like, what am I going to argue with Keith about this week?
Yeah, but, we started this the November before the pandemic kicked off. But the energy really kicked up when the pandemic, because we was like, hey, this is not a time to pause right now. We got to keep on going. I understand that the doors are closed, but we got to be able to keep on going. And this podcast is all about amplifying the voice of the why, and being able to talk about different messages, different topics in such a way that hopefully, people are gaining from this.
Yeah, but that momentum was synchronous with, as an organization, when we were redefining ourselves, and we were re-entering the same space in a different way, right? Because the pandemic forced us to do that as an organization. It just fell in line with what we needed to do in terms of the podcast. And so exploring those new parts of yourself is definitely one of those added value benefits in that redefinition process. And the other thing is that you begin to realize how resilient and agile you are in an ever-changing world.
Yes,
like
ma'am.
when you redefine yourself and you really think about your core values and you're remembering the things you used to do or really honing in on things you want to stop doing and this, that, and the other thing, you will begin to remember, oh yeah, I've been through this. Oh, I remember when that happened. Oh, good gracious, we came out on the other side of this. And it will really, you will really begin to feel more confident in your ability to be resilient and agile and pivot and all that.
I mean, it's almost, the topic we're talking about today is now introducing. Like that's our, our theme is that, and how you wake up in the morning and like begin your morning with that. Now introducing.
Introducing.
How you redefining yourself today.
Wow.
Each and every morning. When you get up in the morning, now introducing. Hey, world, here we go.
Here we go. Who am I today? I think that way because depending on what shoes I have on. Now introducing.
Now introducing the real topic that we're talking about, which is not shoes.
Which is not shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
So wake up in the morning.
Yep.
Now introducing. And
look at that with that affirmation.
Say that with some meaning. Now introducing.
You go ahead. You on one today.
CAUSENETIC family, I hope that resonates with you in some way. I hope that that's something that you can say first thing in the morning when you wake up out of bed. Now introducing.
Now introducing. It's going to boost your positivity. It's going to re-energize your lust for life. Who are you today? Every day you get a new opportunity to be a better version of yourself.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, CAUSENETIC, for listening.
This episode called Now Introducing.
Subscribe and listen to us weekly.
And don't be shy. Give us a 5-star review.
And as always,
dynamic,
be phenomenal,
be CAUSENETIC.